Hey everyone, welcome back. We're here with the first, this time around, Adam, in a series of interviews with players who are going to be at the Oldhammer 2 Western Sydney Wargamers event in less than a fortnight, which is exciting. So Adam and I drew each other in the first round. Adam's probably been part of a group that's copped a little bit of grief for playing Bretonnians, and I don't think anyone thinks what I'm doing is underpowered, but we're both here to have fun in the end. And I think we're hoping that just by these videos that you get a chance to sort of see the thinking behind particular types of lists, and in this case, what Adam's chosen to do, not just this tournament, but over the time he spent playing this army, and finally his expectations for the event. So, Adam, if you don't mind, I'll just read through the lists and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
So you've got a Duke. The Duke is on a royal peg. Your general, the virtue of knightly temper, so the D3 attacks and hatred on the charge. Heartwood Lance, magic weapon +3, strength +3 or -3 AP. You've got a Paladin who's the battle standard bearer, also on a royal peg with the virtue of heroism. So that's the Killing Blow Monster Slayer one.
Yep.
And a prophetess. Level 4, Elementalism and Lore Familiar. We'll get you to talk about that a little bit in a second. Then you've got the incredible 20 Knights of the Realm on foot. You're the first person I know to do this with great weapons, a war banner, 26 man-at-arms with polearms, yeoman, grail monk, blessed triptych, standard bearer, musician, 12 peasant bowmen with full command, and 3 peg knights with the rampaging banner, which I hope is not cut off by the bottom of the screen. So yeah, how did you come up with this list? You've played in tournaments with elements of this before. Has it been since the start of Old World, Beyond, or was it something you picked up recently?
Well, so the last tournament was actually my first tournament, and I'd played two games prior to that, one of which was with my ogres.
Yep.
So it's just a little bit more along the same lines with the models that I have, which is the men at arms, the Knights of the Realm on foot, as basically trying to work around the core of the units that I'm working with, which is very much not strong from what I've come
Aren't they?
across.
How have they gone so far? Knights of the Realm, like, we were wondering if it was whether you own them or whether it was deliberate. They're unique, that's for sure.
Yeah, I fell in love with the models, so they were kind of a must buy for me. And then, yeah, just practicing on how to get use out of them. I've had them do a bit of work in one game, but most of the time they're just kind of left stranded. Um, so that's kind of the whole idea behind the prophetess on foot with the lore familiar, so that she can actually get the mystical path rates,
Yep.
and then try to get them a little bit more into important locations on the battlefield a bit quicker.
Mm. And so that's what Lore Familiar is for, to make sure you get it, I suppose.
Yeah, that, and also I've also found Plague of Rust to be like my favorite spell.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just helps even like the men at arms fight back when you wouldn't expect it.
Mm.
Removing armor saves is good.
It is. It's become a big deal. Like with Lizard Men, I ended up pretty much on elementalism. The control elements are pretty good with the when you can choose your spells. Battle Magic's probably got the most raw power, but I think elementalism has the tricky or utility spells.
Yeah. Um, Also, the lovely little added benefit with Earthen Ramparts against Chariots.
Yep.
Just
Well, I have
stop
one
them
of
from
those.
charging.
Three of them. So yeah, you've got the prophetess, the knights of the realm, and we'll have a look at some of the photos actually. We'll get through. So this is your army-wide shot. And you plan on getting it all done by the event? It's a lot to go.
It's definitely not going to get done by the event. I find painting a bit of a chore. It takes me forever. And you might notice from the units that there's a bit of haphazard work going on.
It's tabletop standard.
across the
It looks
models.
good from here. Are you like, have you played Warhammer for a long time, or are you like someone who's picked it up recently?
Uh, so I used to do the tournament scene back in the end of sixth, seventh, and eighth, and I do actually have fully painted wood elf and dark elf and dwarf armies.
Yeah.
But I always kind of wanted to play Bretonnians back in the day,
Mm.
and none of the stores had stock of Bretonnians,
Yeah.
so I never actually got around to it. So Old World's
So,
kind of like my
so
chance
did
to
you
dive in
pick
there.
this up just with the release of Old World, the Bretonnian models?
Yeah.
Was it through Australian distributors, or did you just order them? I mean, it's hard with Games Workshop; they sort of confine who can get what, but it must have been hard to get everything in Australia.
I've actually not really had much of a problem. Combat Company has
Yep.
probably some of the better discounts for Australia. They did actually have a fair bit of stock. It is rough to get anything more for my army at the moment, being out of work now. But yeah,
No, yeah, that's sorry to hear that, Adam. It's an expensive hobby, that's for sure.
yeah,
It's I don't know, sometimes like if it wasn't for printing, I don't think I'd be able to afford models. What Games Workshop charges is outrageous, but it was even back before when I was playing a long time ago. So I suppose it's something we can get back to it. So you've got the we talked about the knights on foot a little bit, but you've got men at arms at the front too. So you've got the full two champion blessed triptych. That's something you've been running for a long time.
yeah. The just the ability to um, basically give ground on that first combat,
Yeah.
and then that second round, it starts to become a bit of a grinder and a bit of a tar pit. So it's if they don't snipe out the characters in the unit, particularly the ground monk, then it usually sticks around for a fair bit.
Mm.
I found very helpful.
Yeah. And you think so? The bowman. Do you have to take bowman and men at arms? Is it one or the other, or have you just decided to take both?
They're actually not required. The core requirements is just a unit of Knights of the Realm on foot or mounted Knights of the Realm, one
Is it?
unit in
Oh,
the standard
okay.
Bretonnian list.
Yeah. All right.
So I don't actually need to take any of those. The bowman I've found that arrow fire is just in general not bad in small amounts. It can just plink off models from units pretty reliably,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
that might be the edge that gets you a win in combat. And at such a small points tournament size, I found they did a lot better last time than they did at Moab.
yeah.
So I think taking at least the one unit is a good idea.
How did you go at Moab in the end?
Uh, Not great. I had one win, four losses.
Did you like?
Um,
Did you find the 2250 points a stretch? It's sort of the games are longer.
yeah, I had two games um go the full distance. Two of the other games uh ended on the fifth turn,
Yeah.
due time. And then the last game, which at the point I was losing as points on the table, and I think I would have actually cleaned up and won the game if
Mm.
we had been able to play out a full round match.
Yeah.
Um, but that one only went to my opponent's third turn. I'd only gotten two turns into the game
Yeah. I mean, so
for
you've
that one.
played that event and you played the initial 1500 point. Do you think they're just different, or do you think that 15? I tend to prefer 1500 points just because you can get it done. I'm just not sure at the time length you need to play 2000 points plus anymore. Like, it feels like you need 4 hours to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it did feel a bit tight. I feel like if you're gonna play a larger points game, then you need to not be doing lots of infantry squads, and you need to pick big things that are huge point sinks and try and minimize your activation so you can get through your turns. The more stuff you have on the table, the more time it eats up. It's pretty standard across the board
I
for
guess
games in
speaking of
general.
big things, while they're not behemoths, or monstrous creatures, unfortunately for me, but the Pegasus Knights are public enemy number one around the place at the moment. How have you found them as good as advertised?
Uh, my experience, they tend to bounce a little bit. It's probably just because I haven't found the right units to push them into. I've either put them into something too strong or just a unit that's too large, and they've done one turn of killing and then just been tied up,
Yeah,
or they just don't hit hard enough for me. So that's probably just learning the game. I still haven't got too many matches under my belt, despite
yeah.
going to 2 tournaments so far.
I mean, you're
So
doing all right. That's probably 8 games. I reckon you'd be maybe in the top half of maybe. I guess this tournament, seeing some people who've played a fair bit, but I know people who'll be coming definitely with less under their belt. I mean, I feel like I might have only played about, how many have I played? Maybe 12 games of Old World. So I think a tournament's a great way to pick it up. You've got the rampaging banner on them this time. Were you running that at Moab as well?
no, I didn't have rampaging banner on them before. I'm just like seeing like if it helps a little bit. I think if I do run across the other Bretonnian player with the Falcon Horn,
Yeah.
just that slightly better chance of getting a charge in could
Mm.
pay for itself there. But who knows?
And you got the Duke and the Paladin. Do you like to run them together separately? We're going to show the shot will end on your shot with the Duke beginning to be painted, which is great for the event. But you've sort of got both models, but haven't got the Paladin in this shot. I think I've only got it in the other one. So they're sort of the two. You've got the Sorceress, but they're the two other characters that are running around.
Yeah, yeah. So it kind of depends um, on what the battlefield is looking like. I have thrown them both into the same thing, and I have split them up. Um, both have kind of done okay.
Yep.
They're typically the things that survive when the rest of my army has died.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, uh, I find that the unit strength 3 can be a bit of a letdown sometimes. So using them to tag team up on Chaos Warrior units that are like 10 to 15 models is better.
Yeah.
Get them in together and try to deal with it quickly. But um, if they're trying to deal with like monster hunting or character hunting, I usually split them up.
So their is it Royal Pegasus is unit strength 3, but is it Pegasus Knight unit strength 3 or is it unit strength 2?
Still unit strength 3.
Okay.
It's not actually based off wounds for monstrous cavalry, which
Yeah.
is what the Royal Pegasus counts as well as the standard Pegasus. They're just unit strength 3.
Yeah. I guess that is, and they're not close order, I realized, which is interesting. But I guess it
Yeah,
sort of suits that rule of them being unit strength 3 as well. It just makes them a bit lighter. Still a bit worrying. The stomps, the Royal Peg itself is pretty good. It's like a mini Griffin in many ways.
yeah.
So that's the spread. 4 drops and characters. We're playing first round. Were you building going into this event? Were there many adjustments that you sort of made to the list, or are you just happy to sling it in, have another crack? Are there any other units that you'd considered bringing in for the list?
Uh, the other thing that I was contemplating on was um actually getting rid of the BSP entirely
Yeah.
and looking at just fitting in more archers and a trebuchet. But I kind of was like, no, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a dragon. My mate Damien's bringing the Wood Elf Dragon list, and I
Yeah.
heard that he was bringing that. I thought, you know what? He's probably not going to do it, but I might get lucky.
You might. I'm, I don't know. Is it Damien? Who'd Damien get first round? I'm trying to think.
He got Eric actually, so one of the other
Eric.
boys
Ah,
from the
well, they
Western
would know
Warriors.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So he might be pretty happy. Eric, I think, was pretty down on the sort of list he had, and yeah, going up against the dragon, I'm not sure what options he's got, to tell you the truth, because I think I remember looking at his list. So last
yeah.
time, you were there, and this time, like, what do you expect, I guess, on the day? What did you think of the last event in the way that it was organized and put together?
I mean, it was put together quite well. Great environment. Like all my opponents were good. The games were clear. The rules queries that were brought up because there were quite a few at the first
Yeah,
one because
yeah,
everyone's still getting used to it and still being relatively new. Were handled well, and like if there was something new that popped up that people weren't sure about, like it was like advised to the tournament of like this is what's going to happen
mm.
if this situation comes up. So pretty good. I thought the guys did a great job, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to more fun rolling dice, losing games.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind if you lose the first one, Adam, but after that, I hope you win all of them. So we'll see how we go. But
Yeah,
look, let's get to this because yes, I feel like I might have taken you away from finishing the Duke. Thank you for getting started. I put in the shot you sent me at the end. We're getting moving. I should get you something if you can finish it all before the event, but it looks like it's hard. Well, how long have we got? Like 8 days, 9 days. So
yeah,
uh,
only a
that's
few.
where we're up to with Adam. I really appreciate making the time, Adam, and especially given we've drawn each other first round, coming on, giving away your secrets, so to speak. But it'll be good to meet you at the event, and I hope from here you're able to keep up in the chat because I think there's going to be a few more of these, and people might have some questions. We're going to post this straight away.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right, thanks for
Thanks for
coming
having
on.
me.